Welcome to this tutorial about the most important basic settings in Mangold Interact. Take a look at the General tab under Settings. As you can see, Interact is available in several languages. Should you wish to switch the user interface to a different language, you may do so at any time. I would like to stay with English for the time being. Another very important function is the backup. Interact is automatically making backup copies of your work if this setting is activated. Should your computer crash and you restart it and Interact, then Interact will automatically recover all the files that were in use during the last backup interval. This means that you will never lose all data if this backup is activated. Another important setting can be found on the Formats tab, where you will find the document time format. I have already an open document in the background. As you can see, when I make changes to the time format settings, the time information is also displayed differently in the background. I believe the real time code, which displays the video images at the end, is the preferable option. This allows me to accurately identify the video image that I am currently coding. Maybe you prefer to see milliseconds instead of video frames. The only thing you need to be aware of is that milliseconds are displayed after a period, while the number of video frames is displayed after a colon. And the number of video images go from 0 to 24 or 29, depending on your video format, while the milliseconds obviously go from 0 to 999. It is also possible to display the date. When I tick the Show Zero Date option, we can see additional date information in our document. They are all 0 because our collected time values are lower than 24 hours. If you work with time values, going over the 24 hours period, then you would automatically see some date information. Furthermore, the option to switch to days is available. Should a time value exceed the 24-hour period, you would see a 1 for a full day, plus the time within this next day for this specific event. Please note that Interact can process negative time values before the date 0 and positive time values after the date 0, with an extension of several thousand years. You likely have no video footage for that time span, but you may want to work with historical data. Take a look at the demo file historical data. Next, I want to give an overview of the available number formats and statistical time formats. Let's do some analysis first, while using the complete coding system and all the data included in this document. This is the statistical output. Let's go to the percentages, for example. As you can see, we have 2 digits here. Should you require a greater number of digits in the output, simply adjust the floating point precision. This is only relevant for displaying those values. Internally, Interact always calculates at the highest possible precision. But if you want to copy this data into SPSS or R or Excel or some other program or save it in a CSV file, your target program may require a specific number of digits, for example, 2 or 3. The same applies to the time information. Here we see the total duration of this particular dataset. Should I wish to alter the time format, I can do so as previously described for the document. The difference is that the time format for the statistics is independent of the time format for the document. This makes it possible to set a specific format if you need to export your data, while retaining a more easily readable time format in your document. If we take a look at the latency calculation, we see that we have a null value here. Null means this specific code was never given in this dataset. It is important to understand that null is something different than 0. Null simply means no data available. If you export this data to another program, that program may require a different null value. You can select this value here, using for example as -1, -99, or any other value you want to use. Another very nice option is to show or hide 0 values. Hiding 0 values makes the data more readable. In addition to that, the coloring makes the data even more readable. This allows us to see immediately which dataset has a peak in a particular code across all my datasets. For that, the range of all values in each column are split into quarters. Each quarter is displayed in a different color. These colors can be defined under General Settings on the tab Behavior and sub-tab Colors. When dealing with large amounts of data, Turning off colorization while also displaying zero values makes quick, visual inspection of the data a challenge. The data is much easier to understand visually by turning on the colors and turning off the zeros. If you export this data, you would also get empty cells for hidden zero values. So, keep in mind that you can easily switch those settings depending on your current need. The last setting I want to share is the main document view. Go to View and Main Layout to change the way your document data is displayed. This is particularly important when working with transcripts. You can decide how and where you want to see the transcripts that may be attached to each event. You can also decide if you want to use colors to display your codes. These colors can be defined in the code archive, but that would go too far for now. Please read the manual or watch another video about the code archive. I suggest you experiment with these options to see what works best for you in your current research project. These were the most interesting general settings. If you have a specific need, I recommend the online documentation and its search function. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in any of the other videos.